Today's exciting. I'm going to lay a floor. All my timber, it appears to be dry and happy. I did go outside at 2 in the morning last night and everything was very wet. So, and for a brief moment I got ready to put everything inside, and then I realized that, well, it's outside for a reason. I don't have any space inside. It survived, it's all good. One downside is that this morning I realized that I'm probably short 2 rows, which is quite annoying. When I did my measurements originally, I based it on the width that was given on the website. Did all of my drawings based on that, but it wasn't until a bit later that I realized that actually the width on the website includes the tongue, which is quite annoying. I don't know why they do that, because how are you supposed to calculate how much timber you need when they don't give you the accurate dimensions, or all of the dimensions that you need? So I'm probably going to be short 2 rows. The process for laying the floor was simple. I'd finished the setting out for the planks when I first bought them, and they were already roughly cut to size. So I just re-measured them, cut the last few centimeters, and fitted the boards one by one, screwing the ends on one side for each length only. It was really nice to see the change in this room, especially it's a nice and light space already, so the wood looks really balanced. In reality though, this task was so repetitive, and of course it took much longer than I expected it to take. So honestly, this was probably one of the most boring tasks ever, and I mean, it was really, really boring. So I didn't manage to finish the floor in one day, and at that point I found myself working towards a deadline. My parents were about to come and visit me, and I had a whole list of things that I really wanted to do and prepare before they would come. Apart from cleaning the house and making space for them, I wanted to make this beautiful little welcome area by creating a pergola or arbor at the front of my garden, and to do this I wanted to use the felled tree that's been lying behind my house for the better part of the past year, which would also be a great opportunity to finally start clearing this tree and to use the branches for something decorative. I thought I would take my power station and cut off the bigger branches for the pergola, but once I began working on it, I realized there was no way I was actually going to get to that point, because there was so much mess and smaller branches that I would need to get rid of first. So at this point I had 1 day left before my parents came. The house was an absolute mess. I needed to finish half a floor, build an arbor, create a structure with netting for one of my vegetable beds, get rid of all the cardboard lying around all over the garden for all the future flower beds that I want to create, and create little pathways in the very quickly growing grass so we could actually move around without issues. So I started with the floor and I almost finished it. Once my parents arrived, I didn't really film much, but I did try to capture a few moments. My mum and I began working in the garden and we got all these fruit trees and berry trees, which we decided to put behind a house and create like a tiny orchard. I took out my drone to try and decide what the best placement for the trees would be. I have an old apple tree which doesn't produce edible fruit anymore, but I love the way it looks and hopefully the new ones will grow tall just like this one. We planted an apple, pear and cherry tree and several berry bushes. My mum dug all of the holes, which wasn't easy because the ground is filled with rocks. The cherry tree in particular was in a spot where a rock the size of at least a meter hid in the ground, so she kept having to move the hole around. At the same time, I continued clearing the big tree and cutting the grass, which felt really good. Everything is so much more spacious suddenly, and even though this tree will take a while longer to clear, I am really happy to have finally started the process. Next to the outhouse are a few smaller trees which fell quite a while ago as well. I used some of them to create a vegetable bed last year, and this year we decided to add one more garden bed in the last empty corner. I used most of the wood from these trees and cleared some of the mess at the same time. We also planted a mini kiwi tree here, and I've started to add some branches to the fencing to create a trellis so that hopefully the kiwi can climb up and create like another cute little corner. For the vegetable beds, we're trying to do the hugelkultur idea, so we're adding logs at the bottom, then smaller branches, leaves, compost and soil. I have so much material lying around this plot here, and I'm sure I could turn the entire land into one giant vegetable garden and I would still have old branches lying around.
Deze meestal, of van die meestal die ik voor je gekocht had, weet je wel, in de terras.
Oh ja.
goed worden. Dat het kleine hartje, kleine. Ja, hang af. Het boseind is niet eigenlijk een donker knie, zeggen ze dan.